3.
Today we're going to show you how to fillet a perch. What we're going to need is we're going to need some basic tools over here. So you can bring the camera over here, and we're going to have a little bit of napkins, scissors to cut the bags, scissors, chicken shears for the fish. You need a good blade or a fillet knife, and then a regular short blade knife as well. This will be the quickest way to do it. And if you come here, we're going to first start by washing the fish. We want to get some of the slime off of the fish so it doesn't slip on us as easily. And then when we're done with washing the fish, we're going to bring it over onto our plate. And we're going to pick a fish to start with. So what we'll do is we'll begin by showing you guys how to cut the fish. So I start with the small blade, and if you come around on this side here, right where the head is, if you come onto this side here, I make an incision like this, right where the head is, like that, and I cut it right there, right till I hit the spine. So from about 2/3 up to where I hit the spine. I flip it over and I do the same thing here. I puncture it and I cut it to the spine, about 2/3 from the bottom of the belly, 2/3 up to the spine like that, and I cut it right up to here. Then what I do is I take this blade and I go right by the dorsal fin, right by the main fin at the top. I make a cut right on the left of it, and I cut right in about 1/2 inch all the way down till I hit the same line where I cut over here. So I make that cut there. Then I flip the blade the other way and I run right along, only about half an inch in, right along the spine towards the back fin, right there, right about there. Then I do the same thing on this side. I have the blade this way, so I go in on this side, I punch it in about 1/2 inch in, run it to the line where I cut over here, reverse the blade, and then just run it all the way down. All the way down as far as you can go. Of course, you have to watch your fingers. Now I don't go right to the end. I leave about about 3/4 of an inch, maybe 1 inch before the end of the tail, so I don't go all the way down, because you're gonna need that skin. I'll show you later why. So what I do now is I take the blade and I run it right along the spine, right along the rib cage, so you can feel the rib cage inside. Feel the rib cage inside, and if you look inside here, that's what I'm doing. I'm running right along the top of the rib cage, and then I'm running it all the way back, and I'm slowly going deeper and deeper. And then I switch to the fillet knife, and you're going to use this top portion here of the fillet knife to run your knife right along the rib cage, because the rib cage goes up and like that. So that's what you're going to do with the knife. You're going to follow it with just the tip of the knife, and you're going to keep going all the way down. And you want to stay with the blade as close as you can to the rib cage and follow the rib cage. That way you don't have any bones in it. And then once I get to about 2/3 way there, I take the tip of it and I pierce it right through, so that you can see it's pierced right through there. And I turn the blade downwards like this, so that I can cut right along the spine, and I work my way back. But not to the end, only about 1/2 inch left here, so you still have some skin left. Then I pull the blade out, and then that's what you get. You can run your knife with the fine details over here, get the rest of that meat off. And then once you get to the skin part right here, there's no need to cut anymore. So what I do is I use the scissors. These are chicken shears, but they're great for fish. And then what I do is I cut it right along there. I cut it right along the line. And then down towards the back of the belly. And then you're left with a piece like this. I flip that around. Some people like to use a fork. I don't, but some people like to use a fork and then hold it over here as they do this next step, but I don't bother. You can hold it like that and cut it, but I don't bother. I just make sure this part is straight. And I use the fillet knife once again. I make a small cut here, but not enough to cut the skin, only to cut the meat. And then I go in and I keep the blade flat and right along the cutting board. And I hold it right back here and I just move the knife back and forth all the way down till the end. And then you have just the skin left and a perfect fillet. Now we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. What I do is I cut the scrap. I throw the scrap into a scrap bin. I flip the fish the other way and I repeat the process on the other side. So I follow the spine with the tip of the blade on the fillet knife. And once I make it about 2/3 down, I run it right through like that, and I tilt the blade a little bit this way towards the board, and I run the knife blade right along the spine till about 1/2 inch. I don't go past 1/2 inch because you're going to need that to flip it over. And then I continue on cutting right along the rib cage. You have to make sure your fillet knife is very sharp for this, because you're going to have a hard time if it's not perfectly sharp. And then I run the knife blade right on an angle like this. Instead of downwards on an angle like this, I follow the rib cage going like that. And then I use my fingers to pry the meat out of the way to allow the blade to get in and to allow me to see what I'm doing and where I'm doing it. Okay, then once again I take the chicken shears and I cut the skin and I go right along the contour of where I was cutting and then down towards the belly here because there's some good belly meat there. I flip that this way. I actually break the bone of the tail by pushing it down like that. It makes life easier. I stretch this part out so it's nice and stretched and straight. I put the blade in and then I curve it and I hold the back and I move the knife back and forth all the way along the skin so I separate the skin. And when you're cutting, when you start on an angle like this, you curve in and then you have a slight angle downwards when you're cutting between the skin and the meat like that. And then once again, a perfect fillet, both sides, beautiful fish. Just rinse and put some of your favorite seasoning on it, or you can put it into a batter, fish batter, or you can do flour, breadcrumbs, egg yolks, or just total eggs, and you'll be good to go. Fry it up with some butter. Have yourself a great meal.